to this area. I loved hearing you talk about growing up in Georgia, small town. I'm a small town girl, grew up in Huntington, West Virginia. How important is it for you to come here to Appalachia and share your story beyond music, beyond the cookbooks?
Well, I do think I feel that small town thing. My bass player, Steve Mackey, is actually from West Virginia. And we talk a lot about that, about how going back home is important, And so to me, even though I'm not home, it feels that way. And especially to young women, to just say what you're thinking is right. I mean, I just feel like it sounds like a simple message, but to be able to say, trust your gut, because you know what's best for you.
Yes, that's wonderful. You talked a lot about, as something that just really resonated with me, I call my mom after every big thing. I call my sister, and you talked about how important those women are in your life. When I was mentioning in my newsroom that I was going to interview you, Linda Ronstadt came up, and just talk about some of those women who are foundational and have helped you and propped you up along the way.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very lucky, especially in our industry. People always talk about the competition among women, but I've found there's such a camaraderie. And a lot of these girls and the women who have come before me are friends of mine now. Like Rena has been a wonderful friend, and Emmylou Harris, and even Linda Ronstadt has become a friend, which is so weird for me to say. Like, I ninth grade fangirled over her because, she's the reason that I want to be a singer. Just these words of encouragement. And some of my girlfriends that we kind of all were, got our record deals in the 90s, and we didn't get to hang out because we were all on the road, or have now reconnected. And when we sit and have dinner, we talk about, man, I wish we would have been able to be friends during that time, because we could have shared, we're all going through the same thing.
I love that. Being able to prop other women up, and there's space for all of us.
Yes, because when one succeeds, we all succeed. This is a good thing.
It's so very true. You talked about some of your projects coming up, that maybe there's some songs in the works that you'd like to go back onto, or onto Broadway. I mean, are those, what are those possibilities? Are you anything you can
I don't know
share?
when Broadway is going to happen, but I'm getting ready to go back in the studio and I'm going to make this songwriting record pretty soon here. So it'll be out by next year.
Wonderful. That's so exciting. And I'm looking forward to Broadway. I want to go see you when you're on. Talk about, people look at you and they think Trisha Yearwood, she is the peak. But getting to the peak has highs and has lows. What do you say to women who are in some of those valleys right now?
That it's not forever. I talk about life kind of doing this, and you got to really enjoy this part and know this part's here, but it's going to come back up. And that's being human. That's something that we all share. I think the most important thing in Soledad, now we're talking about it, is when you look at, especially when you in the age of social media, when everybody's showing their best selves. We're all going through the same things. We all lose family members. We all have hard things happen to us. We all have to navigate. And there's just comfort in me knowing I'm not the only person going through something.
Yeah. Anything you would say to young women in Appalachia who their dream is to grow up and be Trisha Yearwood?
My thing would be, somebody's got to do it. In growing up in Monticello, Georgia, where no one did this. If you were musically inclined, you taught music or you led the church choir, which are noble professions, but not what I wanted to do. Somebody's got to do it. And why not you?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of telling yourself all the reasons why you can't, to ask yourself, why can't you do that?
I loved what you said about putting limits, though, and saying, hey, this has to work for me. Anything that you would expand upon further for our audience?
I think that, and again, I think part of it's a Southern thing, but it's also a female thing of wanting everybody to like you and not wanting to be the one that rocks the boat or puts the wrench in the thing. But you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't say, this is right for me. And saying something's not working for you or making it work for you is not a bad thing. That's taking care of yourself.
For sure. Is there anything that you would tell people when they have that gut feeling like, oh, I'm getting nervous, how to work through that?
I think nerves are an important part of things. Like when I'm getting ready to walk out on stage, I've been performing live for over 30 years, I have butterflies. I think a little bit of nerves and wanting to do well is good. It helps you, but you can't let it stop you. You have to be like, this is normal. I'm going to have some butterflies. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to do what I do. Because you have to be confident in knowing that you know that you can do what you do. That's why you're standing here, right? Even if you have self-doubt, you know you can do this, right? So you just have to go do it.
Yes. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask you how Linda's doing? My producer, Eric, he said, do you know?
Yeah, she's doing well. Yeah, she's doing well.
I told him I would ask.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was such a pleasure
Such a pleasure to meet you too.